Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Black Clover, Rampage Asta. Chapter 41. You actually won. Vanessa rubbed her eyes in disbelief, until she rubbed her beautiful eyes red, and then she accepted the fact in shock. You must know that Magna is a fighter, and his magic power may be limited, but his destructive power is not weak. It was subdued in an instant. Charmy almost choked, thought it would take a few minutes, but didn't expect it to be over in less than a second. Okay, that's awesome. Luck's eyes lit up. Captain, you really have received a peerless genius. I can't believe it. Did he use some kind of acceleration magic? It's as fast as my lightning magic. No, this kid doesn't have any magic power and relies entirely on his own physical fitness. Yami opened his mouth. What? It turned out to be the power of the body. Vanessa exclaimed that taijutsu practitioners in this world are almost extinct, because taijutsu is simply vulnerable under the attack of powerful magicians, so no one will be thankful for their efforts. It's a pity that he has no magic power. Finral reluctantly said, otherwise this kind of physical quality, if you mix it with magic of any attribute, it will be a nightmare. No magic. At this moment, Vanessa and the others were all taken aback. Then he won your approval just based on his physical fitness. Ghosh couldn't help but said, as a serious sister control player at this time, he couldn't help but look away from his sister's photo. Yami exhaled and nodded. Then he really worked hard enough. Vanessa lamented that the reason why no one cultivates taijutsu is because the hardships required are beyond human tolerance, and even with all the hard work, it is very likely to be solved by a magic trick of a low-level magician in the end, so in such a situation that the effort is disproportionate to the income, almost no one is cultivating taijutsu, and the young man in front of him is going against the current. This kind of courage to do what he knows is impossible makes her can't help but look at him. But the most despised thing in the world is hard work. Luck spoke calmly. So poor. After Charmy learned that Asta has no magic power, there is a look of pity in his beautiful eyes, because the lack of magic power has almost determined the future of Asta, and his strength may be as short-lived as this sky-breaking meteor. Don't underestimate him. I have full confidence in his future. A confident smile appeared at the corner of Yami's mouth. He was looking forward to the future of this young man who kept moving forward. If you don't agree, we can do it again. Asta looked at the sluggish Magna and said with a chuckle, no matter how many times this matchup occurs, the result will be the same, but the advantage is that it can convince Magna. Forget it, Magna, are a man who can afford to lose. You have already been recognized by me, so you are now a real Black Bulls member. Magna pretended to be indifferent to preaching. He was really unwilling to the battle just now, because he lost before he gave his best, but Asta's speed was so fast that it was difficult for him not to catch it with his naked eyes, so he also knowing that even if I give myself another chance, I'm afraid I won't be able to win Asta, so it's better to admit defeat with a broad mind. If you were a little further away from me, or if you flew into the sky at the beginning, maybe there would be another ending. Asta's sermon was half a relief, and the reason why he said it was half yes, because like Yuno's way to distance himself from the beginning, he also has a corresponding method, that is, direct a shadow shuriken to teach life. You really don't hide at all. I, Magna, truly recognize you as a teammate I can entrust with my life. Magna looked at Asta with a touch of emotion, knowing that everyone in this world is trying their best to hide their weaknesses, even some of their closest parents would hide it, but Asta took the initiative to tell him about their weaknesses, isn't it? Treat him as a trusted comrade in arms. As the saying goes, heart to heart, Magna really accepted Asta at this moment. It's really simple. Asta rolled his eyes helplessly. This friendship should not be too easy, but he would never question Magna's sincerity, because friendship between men has always been like this. No matter how long you have known each other, once you recognize it, you will be forever. I'm really sorry just now. I kept saying that you are a hillbilly. In fact, I am also a hillbilly. I live in Suoi Village not far from Suoi Village. Magna put his arms around Asta and preached apologetically, which was considered a friendship. Dare you belong to Suoi Village, and you live in such a remote place, but it really doesn't affect you mocking me at all. Asta was speechless. Haha, after being out for a long time, it is inevitable that I will learn a few tricky words from nobles, but my Suoi Village is still qualified to mock you, Haji's weak chicken. Magna smiled happily, and the failure just now was swept away by becoming friends with Asta. Cut. I think you are acting in your true colors. Asta rolled his eyes, then flipped his ears, and heard a bunch of noisy footsteps rushing behind him. This is. Asta looked back and bumped into a body of warm nephrite. You were handsome just now, little brother. Vanessa threw herself into Asta's arms and spoke in a charming voice. Originally, she wanted to stop when she was 1 centimeter away, and make the most of her provocation, but she didn't expect that she would not be able to control the distance when she was drunk. So accurate, so he threw himself directly into Asta's arms. Hee, so enthusiastic, Sister Vanessa. Asta hugged Vanessa honestly and unceremoniously, causing Vanessa to give him a coquettish glance before breaking free. Hey, your sword was so cool just now, let's fight. Although Luck learned that Asta has no magic power, he is still very interested in Asta's taijutsu, especially the épée drawn from grimoire. Luck thinks it is very compelling. Let's talk later. Asta smiled perfunctorily. He didn't have the patience to play with a fighting maniac. Would you like a snack? Charmy came up to Asta with a piece of super delicious snack to preach, but he said it was a piece, and the next second has become half. Ah, I don't like sweets. Asta looked at the gluttonous Charmy and couldn't help laughing. What a pity. Charmy looked regretful, but the saliva from the corner of his mouth was already flowing, and the dessert in his hand disappeared instantly. Okay, let's get down to business now. Finral clapped his hands, stopping Vanessa from their enthusiastic gesture. Magna immediately took out the Black Bull's uniform belonging to Asta. This is yours, cherish it. Try it on. Vanessa waved the magic wand in her hand, and a soft force pushed the black uniform to Asta's body. It's really a shotgun for a cannon. Wearing this dress makes you look like you're not that badass. Magna sighed. Turtle, I'll leave those chores to you, Magna. Asta spoke with a sneer, and dared to mock him. I really don't know how many eyes Lord Ma has. Quote. Magna was subdued by Asta's move, and his body collapsed in resentment. Thinking of those chores, his heart hurts. Ha ha. Seeing this, everyone laughed, and found that since Asta came, the atmosphere in the group became more harmonious. At this time, on the terrace of the castle, a pair of beautiful pink eyes were staring at Asta. As this another newcomer? He actually won the last team member. The pink-eyed girl first looked at Asta in astonishment, and then put on an arrogant expression. It can only be said that that little fool is also vulnerable. After that, the pink-eyed girl left the terrace. Magna, the newcomer will be handed over to you in the past few days. Let him get acquainted with this place as soon as possible. Yami yawned. Yesterday's all-night bet made him still in a bad mood and needed a good rest. No problem, Captain Yami. Magna seemed to have received some sacred mission, and sent Yami away with a serious look, and then turned his head and hooked Asta's neck. Speaking of what did you eat to grow up, why is your body so hard? Magna patted Asta's pectoral muscles and preached. Yeah, when I hit it just now, it was as hard as a wall. Vanessa couldn't help but said. Actually, there's another place where it's even harder, Sister Vanessa. Asta shyly looked at Vanessa and smiled. Go to hell. Are you trying to do something wonderful with your sister? Vanessa looked at Asta amusingly. Was she being molested by a minor? The crowd frolicked for a while, and it wasn't until late at night that Magna led Asta to a narrow, small and dirty room. Asta, you have to cherish this room. This is the house where the youngest member of the team lives. By the way, my room is twice as big as this. Magna preached proudly, thinking that he had finally pulled a game back. Oh, Asta answered indifferently. He naturally wouldn't care about Magna's careful comparison. Let's go, we have chores to do tomorrow, go to bed early. Miscellaneous. Chores. Magna's smug expression instantly settled down, and then a wave of resentment pressed down from top to bottom. I still have to do chores. He really regretted betting against Asta now. Mock up. Asta closed the door. The bedroom was a little small, but it was enough to sleep. In the end of the day, he opened the 8 inner gates several times. Although he was not overloaded, his body was already very tired. It seemed that he would have to double his training tomorrow. How will you compete with those top mages in the future? The next day, before dawn, Magna came to harass Asta. Although I have to do the chores, I can't be cheap for that kid, so I wake him up in the name of bringing him familiar with the environment. Magna kicked Asta's door open with a smirk. but then he was dumbfounded, because there was no one in the room except for the neatly folded quilt. Where did this guy go in the morning? Magner's incredible preaching. You must know that it is not yet dawn. In the jungle outside the castle, Asta has simply built some training equipment, including stakes for boxing, and bullseye for kunai training. Although his current strength no longer needs these trainings, learning is like rowing against the current. If you don't train for a long time, mistakes of all kinds are bound to occur. For example, the flying kunai misses the target. Even if it misses only once in 1,000 times, it is deadly enough. Sharing. At this time, the sky was still dark. After Asta turned on Sharingan, the field of vision became extraordinarily clear, and the bullseye of the tree trunk 30 meters away could be clearly seen. Duh! Asta threw his right hand, and the 3 kunai hit the bullseye on the 3 trees without error. Kunai is fine, the next step is to get acquainted with several kinds of ninjutsu exchanged from the mall. Asta closed his eyes and adjusted his breath. Now he has exchanged a total of 4 kinds of ninjutsu from the mall, namely, Tomo Sharingan, Shadow Shuriken, Bunshin no Jutsu, and Henge no Jutsu. Bunshin no Jutsu. After Asta used Bunshin no Jutsu, a cloud of white air burst out from the right side, and then a clone that looked exactly like him appeared. However, this clone's eyes were dull like a puppet, and it was easy to be seen through, but if it was done in a hurry, the next is also a good blindfold. Henge no Jutsu. Asta then used Henge no Jutsu, and soon the girl with a silver ponytail and pink eyes changed. This was the most beautiful girl he saw in the exam room, and she turned into her before she knew it. I don't know, where did this girl go? Could it be that she was ordered by the silver-winged eagle? Regret flashed in Asta's eyes, and then changed back. Although his current strength is not enough to fight head-on with the world's top mages, if he accidentally assassinates, with Henge no Jutsu's disguise, Shadow Shuriken's stagnation, and turning on the terrifying power of 8 inner gates, is not impossible to kill these powerful beings in seconds. Therefore, even in the face of the head of the 9 magic knights, he is not wrong at all. Asta then started a series of warm-ups. When the day was about to light up, he also just loosened his muscles and bones. He just waited to start a new day of training after eating. Where did this stinky boy go? Could it be the toilet? It shouldn't be. I've already gone to the toilet twice. Or maybe he couldn't find the toilet at all, so he secretly went to the woods to defecate anywhere. Magna's eyes lit up when he thought of this, and he immediately rushed out to find Asta, but before he left the castle, he saw a sweaty Asta walk in. Morning, Magna. Does the newcomer start cleaning early in the morning? Asta said hello. Stinky boy, clean up when you clean, can you stop talking about it, and what are you doing early in the morning? Magner preached as if he had been stabbed in the spine. I went to the forest for a little activity. Asta preached. Training so early in the morning. Magna looked at Asta's sweat-soaked clothes in surprise. How much training did it take to produce so much sweat? But looking at Asta's appearance, it seems that he is accustomed to this kind of high-intensity training. No wonder your kid is so powerful. Magna doesn't know why he suddenly felt a sense of awe towards Asta in his heart. He must know that people in this world are all about talent. Whoever has the most talent is the best. No one has ever been like Asta. He obviously doesn't have any magic power, but he is actually more powerful than the average mage who has cultivated himself. This kind of unrepentant effort has only been seen in his life. By the way, do you have anything to do with me early in the morning? Asta asked. Oh, I'm going to show you the environment today. Magner recovered from his shock and preached. I just want to take a shower. Where is the place where we take a bath? Asta's eyes lit up. This Magna came just in time. Take a bath if you want. Follow my order. The first step is for the people to take food as their priority, and first watch the cafeteria of our Black Bull. Magna trotted all the way, and soon brought Asta to the cafeteria. This canteen is a bit wasteful. Are there so many people in our group? Asta looked at the canteen, which was the size of the entire church, and couldn't help but spit it out. Don't care if there are so many people, only such a grand canteen can be worthy of our status. Magna rolled his eyes and ran with Asta again. This is the big bathing place of our Black Bull. I can't help but want to take a dip as soon as I see it. Magna took off his clothes, and then soaked in the 50-degree water bath with a look of enjoyment. Asta, come in quickly after you shower. Is it fear that you are dawdling? The water temperature dare not come in. Magna, I remember Vanessa saying you're still a virgin. Asta preached in the shower. Do you want to laugh at Uncle Ben too? You 15-year-old virgin. Magna said with a flushed face. You're wrong, I'm just a friendly reminder to you, if you're not married, it's best not to take a hot bath, because if the water temperature is too high, it will kill sperm, and you won't be able to have children. Asta's bland preaching. What? Magna jumped out of the bathtub in an instant. Are you kidding me? You can also choose to continue soaking. Asta showed a devilish smile, which made Magna shudder. Let's go and take you to the next place. Magna had wanted to take a comfortable soak, but after hearing Asta's words, he was no longer interested. Okay. Asta squinted and smiled. In fact, he was not alarming. It is said that the reason why ancient Romans had low fertility had a lot to do with their preference for hot baths. Next, I'm going to take you to the most sacred place in this castle, which is the women's dormitory. Magner's mystical preaching. It's really holy, but what's with this dense spider web and poison arrows? Asta couldn't help asking. These are all trap magics. If a man breaks in privately. Magna paused for a while, then looked at Asta inexplicably and said, it's just you and me, but it will be twisted in an instant, so don't blame me for not reminding you. It's your braids, Asta said speechlessly. With a mechanism like this, he could dance a cha-cha dance in it and come out. Okay, next is the most important place, that is the men's toilet. Remember, this is not Suoi Village, and you will be killed if you dare to pee. Magna came to the toilet while talking, and then opened the door of the toilet. Although he was still looking at Asta, he felt a cold breath mixed with a strong stench floating out for some reason. Kill you, Magna, Yami said with a gloomy face. I really didn't expect that he would be surrounded by two little devils when he pooped. Is he a dignified leader? I'm so sorry. Magna's hair stood on end in fright, and he immediately closed the toilet door and walked away. Cough cough, although I didn't expect where Captain Yami would be, but that's not the point. The point is that you only need to know where the toilet is. Next is the room of the beast. Magna introduced as he ran. The beast still has a room? Asta asked. Of course, this is the hobby of the head of the group, so a room was specially opened for the beasts. You see these beasts with colorful eyes, aren't they cute? Magna looked at Asta and said, it is worth mentioning that the glorious task of raising beasts does not belong to the category of newcomers. You must know that this is a sacred profession, and it has always been snatched by us old people. Now it happens that I am feeding, do you want it to be given to you? I think you should do it yourself. Asta stared at the vicious spirits in the iron gate with a black line on his face. Although he was far from tailed beast, he was so cute. Cut. Next is the library. Magna and Asta quickly came to a library that was estimated to be 1/5 the size of a canteen. As expected of a black bull. The cafeteria can't wait to be bigger than the playground, but the library can't wait to be smaller than the toilet. Asta pouted, but it was just right. Anyway, he had a headache when he saw the book. Now I'll take you to visit our Black Bull's game room. Magner preached excitedly. And the game room. Asta's eyes lit up, and it sounded good. Ha ha ha, what's up, are these things fun? Magna pointed to the utensils in the house with wickedness. Are you sure this isn't an interrogation room? Asta pouted as he looked at the appliances with nails on the bench and gears. Humph, I'll take you to see a fun one later. Magna quickly ran to the next destination after speaking, but he slowed down as he ran, because a pink-eyed girl appeared at the end of the corridor. Asta looked up and felt that the ears were quiet. He didn't expect that the girl who had caught a glimpse of him in the examination room would be in the same group as him. This kind of unexpected joy is very much like seeing a beautiful female classmate at the registration desk when I was in school, and then finding out that this female classmate and myself are still in the same class. Sometimes fate is so wonderful. But no matter what kind of entanglement he will have with this pink-eyed girl in the future, but now the pink-eyed girl's expression is a bit unkind, and it seems that there will be a burst opening that can break her cold temperament. Asta, she is your contemporaneous. Magna stopped and introduced. At this time, the girl with pink eyes came to the two of them in a hurry. She didn't stop in her footsteps, she just said when she walked into Asta, "Don't look at me with this kind of eyes, you little magician, bed bugs." Asta touched his nose and laughed. It seems that you don't like to be in contact with people. This is not, of course. I am Noelle Hilfa, the royal family of this country. Noelle looked at Asta bluntly. Then what if you suddenly took the initiative to throw yourself into my arms? Asta asked with a smile. Magna was familiar with his smile at this time, because when Asta pitted him last night, it was this fox-like smile. Should I kindly remind this newcomer? Magna looked at the arrogant Noelle, and suddenly felt reminded that she was a ghost. It is best to be pitted by Asta. Throw into your arms. How is that possible? Noelle's face lost her mind. Would she do such a stupid thing as a dignified princess? Who can say for sure? Asta raised the corners of her lips. Noelle's long soft hair was illuminated by the bright sunlight at the moment. She was very beautiful, but this pleasing moment was destined to not last long, because Asta slowly pulled out the magic breaker from the 5-leaf clover grimoire. Sword. Are you going to fight? Noelle bit her red lips tightly. She couldn't help recalling Asta's brave figure in the battle last night. She really wanted to distance herself from Asta, but she clenched her teeth and didn't take a step back. But her beautiful eyes were already feeling aggrieved. He turned out of the mist, and sure enough, was he going to be bullied when he first came? You boy, what are you doing with the weapon? Magna felt that he already had a phobia of the great sword. When he saw Asta drawing his sword, his neck was chilled. This is not a good sign. Boom. Asta slashed hard on the ceiling behind Noelle, and the solid ceiling was like a broken silver bottle, and countless rubble fell. What? Noelle rushed forward like a bird in shock. It was human instinct to seek advantage and avoid disadvantage, but Asta was right in front of her, and Asta had already smiled and opened her arms, waiting for her to throw her arms around her. Never mind. Asta blocked the falling gravel, and patted Noelle's head lightly. Although the girl's body has not yet grown, it didn't fall where it should have. It's a big orange cat, and it's quite comfortable to carry. Bad man. You dare to take advantage of the princess. Noelle pushed Asta away in panic. Her face flushed instantly. This was the first time she had contact with a man. Just now, you took the initiative to jump in. Asta smiled innocently. Why didn't you say it was you who smashed the roof? Noelle preached angrily, but at this moment there was a sound of cracking walls from the ceiling, and a piece of gravel was about to fall. Asta hugged Noelle and stepped back. Remember this feeling. When you encounter danger, ridicule, or helplessness in the future, you can hug me tightly, and then leave everything to me to handle it with confidence. Asta smiled and put the sword back into the grimoire, improvising his flirting talent. Noelle was originally annoyed, but when she heard Asta's unusually warm words, she stayed for a while. This was the first care she received since she was a child, a stranger. Moreover, out of a woman's intuition, she felt that Asta was not joking when she said this. If she was really in danger, Asta would definitely protect her. Hey, stop flirting, you two, the roof of this TM is about to collapse. Magna looked at the cracked roof with a tangled face. Although the house can be repaired by itself, the head of the regiment will scold him for making such a big move. However, Magna thought about it. The head of the regiment was going to the toilet, maybe can't hear the movement here. Boom. Magna just got lucky and saw Yami fall from the toilet on the second floor with his bare buttocks. Yami raised his pants in embarrassment, but before he could stand up, a layer of dust came towards him. I'm going to kill you. Yami let out a hysterical roar. Today is really embarrassing. First, he was surrounded by 2 little ghosts and went to the toilet without saying anything. Then people squatted in the pit, and the house collapsed from the sky. He fell from the 2nd floor to the 1st floor without even wearing his pants. Who can tell him who did this? Run. Magna was the first to apply oil on the soles of his feet, and Asta pulled Noelle and ran, but Noelle stopped as he ran. Why didn't you run away? Asta asked. You pierced the ceiling, why should I run? Noelle raised his head arrogantly. Don't you want to see the captain's bare ass? Asta laughed. Nonsense. Noelle shuddered, and the head of the regiment shuddered just thinking about his bare buttocks. The food in the cafeteria should be cooked. Remember to eat more. Next time you're still so thin while hugging you, I'll reward you with 2,000-year-old kills. Asta turned around as he spoke. The days to come are still long, and the relationship between men and women takes time to build up, so it is not in a hurry, but I believe that through today's explosive opening, Noelle will definitely remember him. In fact, Noelle didn't just remember Asta. In the next few days, he would really think of Asta's words when he went to the toilet. Originally, Asta hugged her domineeringly. She should be annoyed, but later it was like being poisoned. I miss Asta's broad embrace that can shield her from the wind and rain. I'm really poisoned. When Noelle was training in the forest, she couldn't help but think of Asta. Although she has been avoiding Asta these days, Asta is also training in this forest. Sometimes she listens carefully and even hears the heaviness of Asta's training. Breathing. Don't think about it, I want to train hard. Noelle shook his little head, restrained his mind, and his lovely pink eyes stared at the bullseye of a tree trunk 10 meters away. Drink. Noelle quickly condensed a water bomb. The launch trajectory of the water bomb was very straight at first, but then it turned and rushed towards Asta as if a tracking missile was installed. PFF'd. With an expressionless face, Asta escaped from Noelle's loving care. Thanks to Noelle's gift, his training ground was also smashed by water balls that would fly at an unknown time. This little girl, apart from not hitting the target, other mosquitoes 800 meters away are hard to escape. With a dark face, Asta stood upside down and looked at the bird's nest that he wanted to wait for 2 more days to dig out. Now the nest has been smashed by water bombs and the eggs are broken. Thinking about it, it's still an old saying. It seems that Noelle's arrogant flower will be folded sooner. No, still no. Why can't I control magic at will? Obviously I have such a powerful magic power. Noelle fell on her knees unwillingly. This was her 251st practice today, but the water bomb closest to the tree trunk can only reach 1 meter close to the target. This hit rate makes her equivalent to a waste. Both brothers and sisters can join the silver-winged eagle, but I was driven into the worst magic knight order. Those who have ridiculed me must be happier now, right? Noelle's pink eyes ooze from the pitiful water vapor. At this time, she only felt like on her back, as if every time she fired a water bomb and missed a hit, many people would cover their mouths and look at her sarcastically. The little girl of the Hilfa family heard that she can't even control her magic power. This is really a joke of the royal family. These acrid words, like a repeater, were always in Noelle's ears, which made her extremely sensitive, but it was these bitter words that gave her something that no royal family had. It's perseverance. I don't want to be laughed at by these people. I must let them know how good I am. Noelle swept away the decadence and stood up from the muddy ground, but at this time she herself did not realize that her mental fluctuations were very large, and it is very easy to force the use of magic power at this time to cause the situation to get out of control. 29,785. Asta is doing one-finger meditation with difficulty at this time. His task today is to break through 30,000 one-finger meditation with both his right thumb and left thumb. But just as he was training meticulously, he suddenly felt a strong surge of magic power. Noelle. Asta nodded with his thumb with one hand, and the whole person landed gracefully like a swallow. Then he got up and came to the training ground where Noelle was located. I saw that the water bombs cast by Noelle's hands were expanding rapidly uncontrollably. What? Noelle looked at the water bombs he had unleashed in horror. Originally, the diameter of each water bomb was kept at the level of 1 meter, but at this time, the magic seemed to be pouring into the water bombs uncontrollably. The diameter is more than 1 meter, 1.5 meters, 2 meters, 3 meters. Ji dong. Noelle took a deep breath when the water bounced back at him. This was the only thing she could do at this time. Zizi. Luck, who was leisurely looking at the little book on the sofa, suddenly flashed a few lightning bolts in front of his blonde hair, which was an early warning of the sudden appearance of powerful magic, and Yami, who was walking down the corridor, was going to go back to make up for a sleep. I subconsciously felt that something appeared, and I couldn't help but stunned when I looked out the window, because a huge water polo like a conch appeared in the distance. What happened? What a spectacular water polo! Has the newcomer's magic gone violent? At this time, the members who were still in the Black Bull headquarters came out of the headquarters at the same time. They looked at the magical water polo that looked like a monster in the sky with different expressions. What a huge amount of magic power, but if you leave it alone, the newcomer will probably drown. Magner's worried sermon. But if you use magic to break the water polo, then she will basically be scrapped. Yami looked at the water polo seriously, then looked at Finral and said, "Can you use your space magic to fish her out?" With this level of magic, I can't get close at all. Finral said with a wry smile. This is a headache, and Asta, who can remove magic, is not here. Yami scratched his head in distress. If he had to choose the lesser of two evils and save Noelle's life first. 45.46.47. You have to work harder, Noelle. If you can overcome the magic runaway with your own perseverance, then it will be of great benefit to you. Asta was leaning against a big tree at this time. His fingers tapped on the tree trunk regularly, and each tap represented 1 second of time passing. The reason why he is not in a hurry to save people is because when he came, he saw that Noelle took a deep breath when he was put into the water polo. The average time for a normal person to hold his breath is 1 minute and 15 seconds. Breathing rhythm infers that Noelle can hold his breath for up to 1 minute. That is to say, when the time comes to the 59th second, no matter whether Noelle can restrain the magic power of the rampage with his own perseverance, he will take action, because this will be the last time between Noelle's life and death. In the water polo, Noelle closed her eyes in pain. She could feel the air in her chest becoming less and less. An unprecedented sense of suffocation made her panic. Those faces that had ridiculed her in the face of death were one. The passing of a little bit. After all, what is there to let go in the face of life and death? 50 seconds. 0.51 seconds. Asta's amber eyes have turned blood red, and the beautiful Sharingan stared at the petite and weak figure in the water polo. Are you going to die? At this time, Noelle's consciousness had begun to blur. A lot of water had poured into her nasal cavity, and a tingling pain had spread from her brain to her limbs. At this time, her painful brain was blank, but just as her consciousness was about to dissipate at that time, she suddenly heard a voice that made her heart beat. Remember this feeling of being held in my arms. When you encounter danger, ridicule, helplessness or even despair in the future, you can keep me tightly, and then everything will be handed over to you with confidence. I'll handle it. Asta, where are you? At this moment of life and death, Noelle thought of Asta who rudely embraced her in his arms. For some reason, when she thought of these words, a strong will to survive suddenly surged out of her body. She couldn't die here yet. Especially if you die in your own magic. Otherwise, wouldn't she have to accept others' ridicule from life to death? I want to live. Noelle opened her eyes suddenly. At this moment, her eyes were firm. She began to slowly manipulate the magic she had accumulated out of control. Originally, when the magic power was out of control, the caster would only become more and more panic, but as long as she calmed down, you will find that these runaway magics are not terrible. Captain, it's been a long time, are you going to take extraordinary measures? Magna couldn't help but said. Wait a minute, didn't you notice that the water polo started to stabilize? Yami looked at the water polo with deep eyes. At this time, the water polo was in a stable state and was not expanding. It seemed that Noelle had gradually mastered the control of magic. 55 seconds. 0.56 seconds. Asta read this. The 5-leaf clover grimoire has risen, and he has also noticed that Noelle is gradually gaining control of magic, but it is impossible to completely remove it in just a few seconds. As long as Noelle can, it is enough to learn how to calm down in the state of mana runaway. Next, leave it to me. Asta's feet suddenly exerted force, and the whole person flew across the sky. From a distance, Yami and the others saw that Asta was covered in green light, dragging a big sword that shone with red light. On the water polo. Wow! The water polo was slashed open by Asta's sword like a balloon blown to the extreme, and countless streams of water fell like a torrential rain. Noelle, who had already opened his eyes in the water polo, stared blankly with bright pink eyes. Asta, like a little pervert, really didn't deceive himself. At his most critical moment, he would really come to his side like a patron saint. Do you remember what I said? Asta volleyed onto Noelle and landed smoothly, then laughed and joked about Noelle, who seemed to be frightened. No. Noelle's pale face was red, and for a moment he forgot to break free from Asta's arms. Noelle, have you ever thought about casting magic in another form? Asta suddenly looked straight and said, some soldiers, if you let them throw darts, you may not be able to throw them for the rest of your life, but if you change to a crossbow with a sight, you may soon become a marksman. Another way. Noelle's eyes lit up. She has always used her hands. In fact, most mages are like this, but this does not deny the use of a wand to cast spells. You must know that the main function of a wand is precision. Are you two going to hold on to the limit here? Yami suddenly broke Asta's two-person world. Noelle immediately broke free from Asta's arms in a panic, and then blushed and looked elsewhere. Although it's soaking wet, little Noelle will be fine. Vanessa smiled at Noelle. What the hell, you just can't control the magic power freely. What's the matter? We are a group called Waste by Others, Black Bulls, who doesn't have any shortcomings, either lustful or girl-controlled. In short, you have this little shortcoming is not worth mentioning at all. We will say anything in the future. We are a collective. After Magna finished speaking, all the members of Black Bull gave Noelle a harmonious smile. Even Yami, who had been sullen, made Noelle feel at home for the first time, one without any blood relationship, but a home that is warmer than a real home. I know a noodle restaurant is super delicious. You can tell Asta and let him take you to eat. God Finral assisted and said that he would not let such a watery little girl go, but Asta had obviously already made his move, so he had to add the icing on the cake. What are you saying? Noelle blushed. Wouldn't they be dating if they went to eat alone? I can tell you what an angel my sister Mary is. The sister-in-law gentleman Gauche also showed a kind smile. Charmy even took out his own dessert and put it up, but Vanessa was the one who left Noelle most helpless. What I'm best at is manipulating magic, and I can not only teach you the skills of manipulating magic, but also how to become a mature woman. Vanessa made a comparison with Noelle. What the hell is a mature woman's skill? I'm not pretty enough. Noelle raised her head slightly. She was very confident in her appearance. Ha ha. Noelle's small move immediately made everyone present laugh. At this moment, Black Bull truly integrated into these two newcomers. Don't you have anything to say to me? Noelle blinked his big pink eyes, as if to complain that everyone had spoken to her, but Asta had been standing aside like a fool. What more need to be said at this time? Asta smiled and stretched out his right hand. Let's work hard together. Let those idiots see who is the real genius. Snapped. Noelle held Asta's hand heavily, without too much language, but when she held these warm hands, her heart was warm. Please advise. Tears of excitement flashed in Noelle's eyes. Starting today she will have a partner who will live and die together. The days that followed were very peaceful, but Asta and Noelle finally ushered in their first assignments in their careers. Can you finally show your skills? Asta couldn't help but took out the sword of severing demons and wiped it, and the meaning of gold and iron horses came into being for a while. Can you not make the atmosphere so tense, but this task must be in line with my royal identity. Noelle looked at Yami sitting on the sofa and the dog-legged Magna, who was holding Yami's shoulders, and said that her relationship with Asta has grown by leaps and bounds these days, to the point where she doesn't have to worry about tearing her face and can run on it at any time. Of course, this is the first mission in your life, and you must feel extremely honored. Magna said solemnly, listen, your mission is to hunt wild boars in Suoi Village. Puff. Asta's staggered sword of breaking the devil almost didn't fall to the ground. He dared to sharpen his sword for a long time and waited for a wild boar worth 5 points. Are you sure this isn't a stupid mission? Noelle couldn't help but pouted. The first task of the dignified princess was not to fight the wizards of the neighboring country, but to fight wild boars. It was rumored that it could really take over the laughs of the entire royal family. What's so stupid about this mission? It's also very scary for the wild boars to go on a rampage. Magna said with a dark face. Forget it, I think the first mission won't be too technical. The wild boar is ruthless, and after all, it's just a walking pig. I'll bake something for you, Noelle. Asta thinks from a different angle. Occasionally going out for a picnic is also one of the important means to cultivate the relationship between men and women. Who loves your pork? Noelle turned his head away, feeling that the task was not bad, at least being able to go out for a walk. It's really two good-natured people. Originally, I wanted to explain the whole story, but now it seems completely unnecessary. Yami looked at Asta and Noelle in a daze, and finally said, I'm very pleased to see you accepting the mission so happily. Magna, take them with you. After Yami finished speaking, he stood up dashingly walking out. He was thinking about how he could play such an excellent card as a royal flush next time. Leader Yami, walk slowly. Magna bowed respectfully 90 degrees, then turned his head to face the two of Asta and said, don't worry, as a senior, even if there is no order from the head of the regiment, I will take special care of you, so I will take care of you this time. Go with you. This is just right. I was worried about how to get to Suoi Village. Now it is much more convenient, but how do we get there? Noelle asked. It wasn't easy, it was easy to find Finral. Magner said that he found Finral, but was rejected by Finral, because Finral's space magic is not omnipotent, and the places he has not been can't convey, so he can only find a way. There's no other way, just fly over. Magna reluctantly said, flying so far from Suoi Village, his magic power would be too much to bear. But I can't fly. Noelle raised his hand first. If you don't dislike it, I can go behind your back. Asta's perfect stroke took away the fact that he couldn't fly. What kind of monsters are you two? Isn't riding a magic broom the most basic? Magna looked at the two Asta with a look of immortality. What kind of evil did he just do? And he actually said that he wanted to cover these two goods. I can't control my magic, and of course I can't ride, idiot. Noelle spoke arrogantly. I don't have magic power at all, so I can't ride it for granted, idiot. Asta laughed, following Noelle's words. Learn to speak. Noelle rolled his eyes at Asta. Stop, I'll take you there. Seeing people sitting at home and food coming from the sky, Magna quickly stopped Noelle and Asta from having a flirtatious conversation. That's really helpful to you. Noelle held hands. Where? Magna finished speaking with a low brow and pleasing to the eye, and then immediately got up in a rage. Why do you always look so high? I'm not superior, but you yourself like to be inferior. Noelle turned away and preached innocently. It's so philosophical. Asta looked at Noelle speechlessly. There was nothing wrong with what he said. What philosophy? This is obviously a crooked reasoning, but it's just for you to see my super Hungalinger majestic dispelling chaos. Magna said that he couldn't wait to come outside the castle and showed off his carefully carved walking broom. Good. So ugly. Noelle couldn't help looking at the ferociously modified broom. It's not that I said, Magna. If you put your broom in the shape of the original Magic Emperor, 80% of it will be caught and cremated by the angry people. Asta's words were sharper, but at first glance this broom really looked like a product of the demon race. Click. Magna's instant petrification. So ugly and cremation. You two fools, you don't even know what performance art is. Magna sat down angrily on the Hungalinger majestic disorder. Although this magic broom was remodeled by him, it was obviously crowded for 3 people. You first. Noelle looked at Asta's sermon, although it was the safest to sit in the middle, but if she sat in the middle, with Magna in front of her and Asta behind her, and being sandwiched by 2 people like this, wouldn't she be a sandwich? So don't choose to rely on Asta alone. Asta saw through Noelle's thoughts, didn't say anything, sat directly behind Magna, and soon, he felt a cowardly and soft body attached to his back. Let's go. Magna didn't wait for Noelle to sit still, and violently activated the magic broom. The Hungalinger majestic dissipator spewed bright yellow flames like a bazooka. The sudden impact made Noelle hug Asta's waist involuntarily. We had to hug each other because we were on the road, so this is not considered close contact. Noelle blushed in defense. Learn. Asta gets cheap, so naturally he won't catch Noelle, otherwise he won't hug him if he annoys her. The flying speed of Hungalinger majestic dissipation is very fast, but the consumption of mana is also very huge. When Magna brought Asta and the two to Suoi Village, Magna was like an ordinary person who had a 2,000-year battle. Like a race, Mi sat on a big rock and was tired like a dog, completely incapacitated. Although Noelle has learned a lot of experience in manipulating magic power from Vanessa, it obviously takes time to digest it, so only Asta has completed the heavy task of killing wild boars, but Asta does not feel boring at all, because 5 no matter how few points, it is still meat. 5 points. 5 points. In the woods, I saw Asta raise his knife and fall. Every time he kills a wild boar that breathes fire, he will call out a 5 points, vigorously. This restless youth, let's accumulate 5 points one by one. Asta clashed left and right in the forest, and in a short time, he solved 7 wild boars and gained 35 points. Is this the end of the kill? Magna looked at Asta in amazement. The speed was almost as fast as it was driving. Oh, there are a few clever ones who ran away when they heard the wind of killing pigs. Asta put away the swordsmanship of breaking the devil. Amazing. There is a little star in Noelle's pink eyes. Although Asta has no magic power, he cannot deny his power. Then let's go to Suoi Village for business. Magna said, carrying a wild boar as evidence, and walked down the mountain. This time, Mr. Cici doesn't have to worry that the wild boar will hurt the villagers. Is Cici village leader your old acquaintance? Noelle asked. Yeah, the reason why I took the exam for the Magic Knights was completely inspired by this old man. He told me that even a low-class person can make a career. Magna preached gratefully, and at the same time couldn't wait to arrive at the village early for a wild boar party. This world is really crushed by class. Asta shook his head. I don't know how many talented inferior people gave up fighting because of their humble birth. But as he was walking, he suddenly frowned, because looking down from the mountainside, a cloud of mist surrounded Suoi Village. What's going on? The villagers are definitely not doing such powerful magic that can wrap the entire village in mist. Magna couldn't help frowning when he saw the thick fog floating in Suoi Village. Then there is only one answer. Suoi Village was attacked by the enemy. Asta spoke calmly. Sure enough, the first mission would not be as peaceful as he imagined, but this was exactly what he wanted. What on earth do the people who cast the magic want to do? There is nothing in this village that is worth a lot of trouble. Magna was a little injustice. He finally lost so much salary to Mr. Cece, but the villagers suffered such an accident before they could benefit from it. He is really annoyed now. Anyway, let's go in and see. Asta preached. Even if we go in, I'm afraid we won't be able to get anywhere. Because of such a thick fog, we will also lose our sense of direction and get lost in the fog. Noelle calmly analyzed. Don't forget, I am the man who can cut off all magic. Asta smiled confidently, and then Zakla surged up, exuding a pressing green light from the whole body. With a full blow, just a single sword cut through the mist hundreds of meters. Fortunately, I brought you this time, otherwise it would be enough of a headache just to go in. Magna preached happily. Although he couldn't wait to run into Suoi Village, he was very emotional about this place, so no one is allowed to destroy this place. Go left from here. If something happens in Suoi Village, everyone will definitely gather in the square. Magna preached solemnly while discerning the way. You are really familiar with this place. Noelle couldn't help but preach. Although Asta opened the way at this time, she couldn't tell the difference between east, west, north and south in the deep fog. There is someone ahead, Asta suddenly said in a deep voice. His eyes are now coquettish red. This change made Noelle somewhat surprised, because she has never heard that someone's eyes can change color. But the red is so pretty. Well, I also felt a powerful magic. Magna did not know when sweat had fallen on his forehead, and this powerful magic made him feel extremely uneasy. Shish. After Asta cut through the thick fog in front of them again, they could already see the square in Suoi Village, and they also saw the villagers as they wished, but the scene at this time was full of chills, because every villager had a hanging over his head. A cold ice pick. Execution. A blue-robed, white-haired man who sat facing the south looking down at the villagers like a king, spoke in a lazy tone. His indifference to life was as if he was about to execute only a noisy chicken in a skirt. Buzz. After one sentence of execution, the ice cones all over the sky were crumbling, and the old and weak women and children under the ice cone did not scream, and snuggled together tightly without resisting, as if they had already accepted their fate. Blast the magic ball of shotgun. Magna seems to have accumulated an active volcano for 500 years, and countless fireballs burst into the sky with his endless anger. Bang bang bang. After the two fateful enemies of fire magic and ice magic collided violently in midair, the fireball and the ice cone disappeared at the same time. It's the magic knights who are here. That's Magna. The villagers who were already desperate saw Asta and his party, and hope burned again in their eyes. Grandpa, we have been saved, and it was Brother Magna who brought people. A blond boy cried sadly as he looked at Cece's body. Father. Magna was a little dazed when he saw Cece's body. It's unforgivable to kill someone at will. Noelle looked angrily at the group of men in green robes who were ignoring life. Obviously, these 4 people were responsible for all these crimes. It looks a bit predictable, but don't let me be too disappointed. Asta's red eyes at this time were as dead as the setting sun, and these eyes were not mixed with any emotion at the moment, but it was just that people couldn't help but feel terrified. If the eyesight of the green-robed white-haired man were better, even if he was dying, he would be apprehensive when he saw this kind of look, because Asta's eyes at the moment were like ordinary people who saw murder. It's a common crime. This is a look that makes them numb to life and death, and they will be afraid when they see it. It's a pity that his eyesight is not so good. In fact, he didn't even look at Asta's group. In his opinion, it was just a few little boys who didn't know much about the world, and it wasn't enough for him to take it seriously. So he said ignorantly and fearlessly, "How dare you disrupt my time? Massacre the whole village in 10 seconds." The green-robed white-haired man enjoyed the feeling of doubling down on revenge. He looked at the pocket watch in his hand and planned to defend his authority after the second hand moved 10 times. "It's really been a long time since no one has acted like this in front of me, Tukun. With me here, did you slaughter it?" Asta laughed in anger and despised him, didn't he? He asked this group to understand what it means to be in the same place. "Asta, don't act rashly." Magna subconsciously preached that there is not much magic left in him now, and the green-robed man in front of him is definitely not weaker than his peak, and even stronger, so this is an unprepared, unequal, no in the battle of the odds. In his opinion, at this moment, only prudence can gain a chance of survival. "Noelle, Magna, I've accepted the heads of these 4 pretenders, okay." Asta stepped forward with a smile, the bloody sword in his hand, the chakra tumbling frantically in his body, and his tempered body were all sending back a strong signal to him at this moment. This signal translated into vernacular is, "Dry. That's it. No matter who the enemy is, no matter how many enemies, if you dare to make him unhappy, you will pay the price in blood." Chapter 51. You sure? Magna was surprised to remember that Asta was not a rookie, but he was able to kill him in seconds, so the turnaround of this battle may be due to Asta's outbreak. "Stupid Asta. Don't think about being brave by yourself, I have made progress these days." Noelle preached worriedly. 10 seconds. Asta didn't say much. Since this young man in green robe said that he would slaughter the whole village in 10 seconds, it would not be too much for him to let him ascend to heaven in 10 seconds. "Looking at your team uniforms, it seems that the Black Bulls are Black Bulls. It seems that the Black Bulls are as lazy and ignorant heretics as the rumors. Even a kid dares to speak madly, pay for your ignorance." After the green-robed and white-haired youth finished speaking, it seemed that in order to verify his ability, an incomparably huge ice hockey puck formed in an instant, and the puck hit the crowd without too much stagnation. This scene changed Magna's face, because with his current magic power, he couldn't resist such an attack at all. Noelle stepped forward stubbornly. Even if she could only bear a little pressure for Asta, she would never back down. Bang! Asta leaned over and rushed, and a sword that broke the demon in a flash smashed the ice ball fiercely, and countless ice and snow splashed out, many of which fell on Noelle's body. "I've told you that I made you back off, and now you've become a jerk." Asta spread his hands and smiled. "Let the enemy kill you." Noelle stepped aside angrily, as if he really didn't care about Asta, but those beautiful pink eyes dutifully stared at the battlefield. Magna was relieved a lot, thinking that the head of the regiment had finally recruited a reliable member. "Did you directly break my ice magic?" The green-robed youth frowned slightly. "Lord Sith, let me make him lost in the magic fog." A blue-robed mage behind the green-robed youth. Sith nodded. In his opinion, Asta just broke his handmade work, which did not attract his attention. Illusory mist magic, the vortex of illusory mist. After the blue-robed wizard finished speaking, his palms immediately burst into mist. "Open the door, human." While Asta was running, he opened 2 gates in a row. His speed was so fast that the fog didn't even complete the trip before he rushed to the Sith's side, and then slammed the hilt on the Sith's chin. The impact was shattered by the impact, and this huge force carried the Sith into the air. And this wasn't over yet. Asta immediately exhausted the Sword of Severing Demons, but one swept the 3 blue-robed mages and flew out immediately. "I said let you go to the sky, you can only go to the sky." Asta put away the Sword of Severing Demons. Although it is a good disguise to be despised by the enemy, it is still very depressing when a giant dragon is despised by a skirt of ants. Instant defeat. Magna's eyes narrowed, and now he is completely convinced. He originally thought that Asta was just a surprise victory, but now it seems that this kind of speed and power, even if he is asked to prepare for hundreds of endings, it is still the same. 1. Noelle felt like a dream, and it ended without even a decent opening remark. This kind of battle is too fast. Ding dong. You killed 3 first-class lower-level wizards with red names and received 900 points as a reward. It's just a first-class subordinate. Asta looked at the corpses of the 3 blue-robed mages with regret. He had expected them to be stronger, but it still seemed too weak. "Well, Asta, you didn't kill them, did you?" Magna remembered something and hurried forward to preach. "Oh, The 3 blue-robed mages were too weak and died, but this leader named Sith was just knocked unconscious. Asta preached. That's good, we have to hand him over to the appraisal department for appraisal. Magna hurried to the landed Sith and used the flame-binding magic, flame rope binding array. Do you want to take it back? It seems that this world also has magic to read memories. Asta squinted his eyes. Ordinary torture of people like Sith can't ask anything, so only a method similar to mind reading can read important information, otherwise, it would be better to let him kill him. However, if there is such a magic, he has to be careful. Magna, can your binding magic imprison his magic? Asta asked. Of course, this is the evolution of the magic ball of fire magic prison killing shot. In addition to binding hands and feet, it also has the effect of confining magic. Magna smiled confidently. At this time, Sith was in a state of confusion. Since his jawbone had been shattered by the hilt of the Sword of Severing Demons, 600 had lost his ability to speak. But the look in his eyes at the moment has already revealed too many thoughts. There are mistakes, remorse and fear, and now he really regrets despising Asta. This is definitely an opponent that he can't win with all his strength, but he never fails to win. At the beginning, he pretended to sit still in the chair, and at this moment, the Sith only felt ashamed. You has finally woken up. Prepare to spend your whole life repenting for what you did to the villagers. Magna looked at the Sith angrily, but the Sith just gave him a cold look, and then a purple light shone out of his body. No, it's a magic tool. Magna was shocked and wanted to stop it, but after the purple light dissipated, the Sith had frozen into an ice sculpture, and turned into countless debris with a gust of wind. It's a pity, I wanted to keep him fishing, but I would have killed him if I knew it earlier. Asta preached regretfully, but at this moment, a magic bird flew out from his collar, as if he had received some guidance and flew into a blue room. Asta, what's the matter with this little devil-avoiding bird? Noelle preached with a cute face. Oh, this is my pet. Asta squinted and smiled and said, in the examination room, the bird had been entangled with him as if it was love at first sight. Originally, this symbol of shame he planned to bake and eat directly, but then he remembered that they were once welcomed by girls in the examination room. In one scene, he endured it again, maybe he could still coax the ignorant girl. After all, with a cute pet, a good talker, a beauty, etc., it is irresistible to such a cute thing, and now it really is Noelle. Can you send it to me? Noelle blushed and said, she was really cute. Reject. Asta rolled his eyes without thinking. How could such a good girl pick up artifact be given away? I said you should have a place for flirting and flirting. Magna reluctantly preached. The enemy has just been resolved. The entire Suoi Village is still in a state of panic, and they need to settle down. Thank you so much, you are the savior of our village. Brother Magna, Grandpa is dead. The boy who had been holding Cece's body looked at Magna in pain. Nico. You have to cheer up a little, your grandfather is a big man, and you have to be like him. There was sadness in Magna's eyes, and if he had come earlier, perhaps such a tragedy would not have happened. Well, I'll cheer up. Nico rubbed his red eyes and nodded. Then who can tell us why they attacked the village? Magna asked the question that he wanted to ask the most. In his opinion, this village simply did not have the conditions to be attacked by mages. We don't know about either. They blocked the village as soon as they came and drove us here as if they were looking for something. The villagers explained in a daze, which made Asta and the others all head up. Forget it, let's go back first. Asta preached. Wait until I help Nico bury the old man. Magna sighed, and now this situation can only be returned to the identification department to investigate. Cece's burial place is a hillside adjacent to the village. From here, you can see far away. This wide field of vision will make people unable to help but give birth to ambition. But at this moment, the setting sun had ended, and the surrounding tombs made it look very desolate. As if this is where ambition rises and where ambition is buried. Every time I see a scene like this, I desperately want to become stronger. Asta couldn't help but sigh that he became stronger for nothing but to live vigorously, not to die lonely. If it wasn't for his strength this time, then there might be more than one Cece buried in the ground. Thank you for helping me bury my grandfather. He liked to come here to see the scenery the most during his lifetime. When Nico was preaching here, he was already crying, as if he saw his grandfather holding his waist and looking into the distance, while telling him about various heroic deeds. Nico, the old man likes the liveliness the most. If he sees you like this, he will be sad. Magna reassured. Brother Magna, do you think I can join the Magic Knights? Grandpa always regretted not being able to join. I really want to fulfill this wish for him. Nico looked at Magna expectantly. Of course you can, but you have to fight for your future with your own hands. What kind of person do you want to be? You have to work hard in this direction. Magna encouraged. But my magic power is not outstanding. Nico preached without faith. It's nothing, look at the little brother next to you, but he doesn't even have any magic power, but in the end he didn't become a member of the Magic Knights through struggle. Noelle also kindly comforted. Are you so comforting? Asta sweats profusely. As the saying goes, it's good to expose people without exposing faults, but Noelle is better, revealing his faults is not ambiguous at all. Really, big brother? Nico's eyes brightened instantly. It turns out that hard work can really come true. Don't you think he's pitiful? Noelle said coldly, apparently afraid that Asta would not tell the truth for the sake of face. Am I the kind of person who is not frank? Like I was very interested in you from the beginning, am I hiding this from you? Asta rolled his eyes, and while he was justifying his name, he also gave Noelle a disgust. What, stupid Asta, what are you talking about? Noelle said incoherently, appearing to be angry, but in fact he was a little bit happy. Aren't we talking about Nico joining the Magic Corps now? The veins on Magna's face burst out. He really couldn't stand these two guys who could flirt at any time. There was an urge to cremate them. Asta rolled his eyes, then looked at Nico and said sternly, there is more than one way to become stronger in this world. If you also want to become as strong as me, then go to Suoi Village to find Naxiu with awareness. In time he will show you how to become stronger. Suoi Village. There is no such village in Nico's world. In fact, the farthest place he has been to is the village next door. You're not kidding, are you letting a kid go to the furthest border village? Magna said in amazement, didn't this make Nico die? If he has this kind of consciousness, I will teach it all. Asta did not explain too much, but this sentence made everyone silent, because the gold content of these 4 words is too great, and Asta's taijutsu is obvious to all. If you can get this when you were young, the teachings are bound to become important life experiences. I will definitely go. Nicole clenched his fists. He has lost his grandfather, he doesn't want to lose others, so he must become stronger. Then hurry up, your age is the time to lay the foundation for taijutsu. Asta preached with eyes like a torch. This world is because there is only one way out of magic, so too many people can only die with regrets like Cece. But if he passed the fire of taijutsu into this world, he would be abandoned by magic. There will be more light for the people. After what happened to Rockley and Asta, no one understands the meaning of that ray of light better than him. Sometimes, this glimmer of dawn can really pull a person back from hell to the world. Well, I'll be sure to get to Suoi Village as soon as possible. Nico gritted his teeth. He knew that the journey would be difficult and might even cost him his life, but this ordeal was nothing compared to the pain caused by Grandpa's death. Flapping flutter. At this time, the demon bird flew back to Asta's side with a pink stone in its mouth, and with a little disgusting look, it turned into Noelle again. You can come into my arms. Noelle mustered his courage. Cut. The demon bird gave Noelle a humane glance, and then got into Asta's clothes. Okay, so cold. Noelle is not angry but happy. He is really getting more and more cute, this little devil bird with a little personality. This guy is still looking for treasures. But what the hell is this pink stone? Asta said unexpectedly. That is the guardian stone that Grandpa brought back. Since this bird likes it so much, I will give it to you. Nico said. I see. Asta nodded, not paying much attention to the stone. Okay, we should go back. Magna's magic power is almost restored, and he speaks. Well, do your best, Nico. Asta nodded, and then sat on the Hungalinger majestic drive the same as when he came, but this time the difference was that he sat a little back, which undoubtedly made Noelle the only one he could rely on, closer. When Magna and Asta returned to the Black Bull's headquarters, a blue-robed wizard was kneeling reverently in a dark hall. He didn't say a word, but the mysterious man standing in front of the stone tablet already understood the mission failed, because the blue-robed magician belongs to the Windbreaker, and when he comes back alone, it means the mission fails. Is it a black bull? The mysterious person who figured out the cause and effect said easily, then let them keep it for a while. Anyway, a magic group of this level can easily get the magic stone back. After the mysterious man said these words, he stared at the radiant stone tablet in front of him with fiery eyes. It was inlaid with magic stones that radiated light of different colors. When all the magic stones converged, it would be the one. When adults wake up. After Asta and the others returned to the Black Bull headquarters, Magna immediately started the report skillfully, and Yami did not stop, and immediately asked Finral, who knows space magic, to bring Vanessa, who is good at sociability, to the magic appraisal department to report the matter. And Yami himself reported this to the Magic Emperor himself. Soon, Yami came back. This time, Asta and others won the praise of Magic Emperor for their actions, and gave them a star for the first time, but Magna and Noelle looked a little bad, it seems because there were dead people in this operation, so the mood was a little low. Yami sighed. Sure enough, he still needs to be enlightened. Cece is not an ordinary deceased. Although he is just a very good card friend with himself, it is of great significance to Magna, otherwise Magna will not be every time. I have been betting with Cece every time. I knew that I lost, but I still gambled very happily, so is this a gamble or an indirect aid to the villagers? As for Noelle, although he has nothing to do with Cece, he has been pampered since he was a child, and he has seen very few injuries, let alone deaths, so he needs to be enlightened. But what made Yami puzzled was Asta. He blew out a cigarette ring and looked at Asta, whose expression was as serious and funny as Erha. He wondered whether this guy had a strong heart or was ignorant of life and death. He killed the most people. But it doesn't seem like a dime has any effect. Is it really good to let the deceased see that you continue to feel sad for him? The old man Cece has died. No matter how sad you are, you will not be able to live, but you have fulfilled his legacy and protected the villagers of Suoi Village. This alone is enough to make the old man leave with a smile, isn't it? Yami took a puff of cigarette and said lightly, sometimes, understanding life and death, and facing calmly is also a required course for the Magic Knights. So, hurry up and clean up my emotions and face the next life. Yes, head of the night. Magna was the first to cheer up. Sadness is useless, the best consolation for the dead is to live well. Noelle lowered her head, although she still couldn't understand what Yami said, but her heart felt much better. Not bad. Asta nodded, appreciating Yami more and more. The leaders of other Magic Knights may also offer comfort when they encounter such a thing, but the comfort method like Yami's brother next door is really rare. Perhaps it is precisely because of this kindness that the atmosphere in the regiment is unprecedentedly harmonious, so that Yami is sloppy and does not have the prestige of a regiment leader, but everyone still loves him very much, because everyone believes that even if the sky falls, this head of the regiment will definitely support them. All in all, you're doing a great job. Yami saw that the enlightenment was almost there, and praised him in due course. Yes, Captain Yami. Every time Magna met Yami, it was like a bloodbath, bringing out the juvenile temperament of the second grader to the extreme. Humph. When Noelle heard the compliment, he lifted the bangs on his forehead arrogantly, while Asta was still expressionless, because this little episode couldn't be turned over in front of his magnificent experience, and it was difficult for him to make a pair. He was flattered, so he could only be fascinated by it. Can't you be emotional, kid? Yami couldn't help but complain, and at this time Finral brought Vanessa back from the magic appraisal section. Vanessa, how's the progress on your side? Well, although the appraisal department took the items left by the prisoners for appraisal, but there is no clue at all. Vanessa's sorry sermon. Identify Kona skirt waist. Magna's eyes widened. I really want to kill them now. But what is certain is that they are either royals or nobles. Finral preached. Okay, no matter whether it is a noble or a royal family, this matter will be handed over to the appraisal department, and now I have two good things to say to everyone. Yami put away the topic, with a somewhat smug expression on his face. Oh, what good thing. This expression caught everyone's attention. The action of the three of you has been recognized by the Magic Emperor, who specially awarded us a star. Yami happily raised the golden 5-pointed star in his hand, and they finally got a positive star. Congratulations, you got a star on your first mission. This is the Magic Emperor's best compliment to a knight order. Vanessa smiled. Thanks to you, we are only 100 stars away from the number 1 Golden Dawn. Funeral Road. There is a gap of 100 stars. But now that I'm here, this data will be refreshed soon. Asta said that he is not panic at all. With his king-like operation, these stars will soon be able to make up for it. So how much is Golden Dawn now? Noelle couldn't help but ask. Since she came here, she must make a career for everyone to see. So the first thing she has to do is to establish a goal. Golden Dawn. 70 stars so far. Yami thought for a while. Oh, only 70. Noelle breathed a sigh of relief at first. She thought it was a 3-digit number, but why does it feel wrong? Their Black Bull and Golden Dawn Mingming Wangs are 100 stars apart. How come Golden Dawn only has 70 stars, is it? We are, negative. Noelle almost missed his own waist. What kind of snakeskin operation is this to play himself into a negative number bunch? Yes, as expected of the Crane Tail team I liked. Asta sweated a little. This kind of unspeakable data really perfectly explains what is called the harshness of youth. Don't panic, it's just a negative number. It will get better and better. Yami is relieved, mainly to Asta and Noelle, because the rest of the group is still happy. Why do you feel so calm? Noelle complained. It's obviously very humiliating data, but everyone's expressions are very happy. What the hell is this inexplicable happiness? If not, Yami spread his hands. He was helpless about this kind of data, but he couldn't do anything about it. Is it really good for me to stay in this group? Noelle held his forehead and said that the future is so bleak, But other people are not afraid of being scalded by boiling water. Asta, who is also a newcomer, doesn't care. You seem optimistic, Asta. Noelle raised an eyebrow. Otherwise, what can I do? I'm also very helpless. Asta imitated Yami and smiled. Okay, the next thing is the second thing, that is the salary. The corners of Yami's mouth twitched, as if he saw the beginning of another big gamble. Long live head Yami. Magna immediately knelt down to Yami excitedly, and the other members of the group who were originally busy were also excited to get close to Yami. Ah, I can't control the power of the flood that I remember, I want to eat. Charmy took full advantage of his short legs and pounced on the thigh of Yami, and then he was honored to be the first to get the salary. God, I seem to smell a girl's scent. Finral is drooling after getting his salary, and tomorrow he must make some more good-looking girls. I'm going to buy a new outfit for my goddess, but I don't know what she'll wear. The sister-in-law, the gentleman, Gauche, comes to Yami for some advice. Don't ask me that kind of question. Yami defiantly refused. Captain, how much do you want to have a fight with me? Luck approached Yami with thunder and lightning all the way, and the desire to fight was very urgent in his eyes. I won't fight you. Yami turned his head arrogantly. If this made Luck anxious, he would have to end it. Okay, tomorrow is a rest day, so don't waste your money. Yami cared for everyone humanely, and then left happily. With his departure, everyone also disbanded one after another. This is the first time a salary has been paid. Asta sighed while holding the purse in his hand. He didn't pay much attention to the salary, because he was not short of money at all. When he wanted to spend, he just grabbed it. It's just a pile of change. Noelle's face was expressionless. The money was not enough for her to shop once. How are you going to use it? Vanessa came to preach to the two of them. She always felt that as a big sister, she should take more care of these two newcomers who just turned 15 years old. I don't know yet. Asta preached at the same time as Noelle. Vanessa bent over and said frivolously, then let's go shopping in the city street tomorrow. Anyway, proper rest is also a kind of cultivation. Asta stepped back. Humph. Noelle pouted in dissatisfaction, as if he was critical of Vanessa's actions, but he still agreed with Vanessa's opinion. Otherwise, wouldn't this be Asta's solo date with Vanessa? Okay, see you tomorrow. Vanessa blew a kiss to Asta and then returned to her residence, and the lively living room was deserted for a while. Good night, Noelle. Asta said hello to Noelle, went to the bathroom to wash up, and then lay down on his bed, but it was still early, and there was no sleepiness. Asta simply opened the Hokage Mall to check. The items displayed in the mall are only the 3 unlimited exchangeable Kikatsugen, kunai and healing potions, because all the ninjutsu in the primary mall have been exchanged by him, and he has not collected enough points to upgrade them all. It seems a little bit anxious. I originally thought that if I joined the Magic Knights, I would be able to get it together quickly, but now it seems to be the slowest one to kill enemies. Asta is a little helpless. Counting the 900 points he got today, he only has 10,000 points. It seems that if he wants to improve his strength in a short time, he can only start with chakra and taijutsu, but whether taijutsu or chakra is an accumulation of work, only play steadily. Forget it, let's take it slow. I don't know what happened to Shu and them. At the beginning, I left a warehouse of healing potions for them. I believe they won't run out so quickly, right? After Asta closed the mall, he thought of the people in the church. Now he finally thought about where the money should be spent. After shopping with Noelle and the others tomorrow, all the remaining money will be sent back. I believe that with this money, the poor kids will have a better life. On the second day, the Black Bulls can be said to be fully dispatched. Everyone got up very early, and it seemed that they couldn't control their turbulent hearts. Vanessa knew that Asta and Noelle couldn't fly, so she took out her own broom, which is an ordinary broom, not as coquettish as the Magna Hongelinger Majestic Drive, but it is more practical, and it may be because Vanessa has been practical for a long time. Because of this, the broom was also stained with a little of her fragrance, which made this shopping full of fragrance. This time I will go first. Noelle didn't wait for Vanessa to sit up, and then sat up a second time, thinking that as long as she leaned on Vanessa closer, she wouldn't have physical contact with Asta, right? Too naive. Asta laughs at Noelle's little gestures and tries to avoid his hand of God. Just kidding. Let's go. Vanessa waited for Asta to sit up and started the broom steadily, but Asta staggered and hugged Noelle's waist from behind. It's flying really fast, Asta Panacea explained. If it's too fast, shouldn't it be leaning back? Noelle held back his terrifying strength. Haha, that seems to be the case, but humans are occasionally anti-physics. Asta let out a smirk after his face, and then it didn't matter what to do with his hands. Noelle has a dark face and wants to slap Asta away, but he doesn't know why whenever he is hugged by Asta, his body is always as weak as an anesthesia. It didn't take much time for this flight, and the three of them came to the city street. But even after leaving the Black Bull headquarters, there will be familiar figures haunting from time to time. Isn't that Gauche who stepped on the broom with a nosebleed? Noelle looked at Gauche with new clothes on his hands in surprise. No wonder he couldn't see this gentleman early in the morning. It turned out to be buying clothes for his sister, but why does he have a nosebleed? This gentleman must be thinking what his sister thinks. Vanessa took it for granted. This is really an extreme patient. Asta couldn't help but sigh, but if his sister Noelle was like this, I believe he would become a very gentleman. Look, it's Charmy. Noelle pointed to the sneaky Charmy and preached. Looks like I went to eat and drink again. Vanessa preaches. I think we'd better get out of here. Asta suddenly preached, because he saw Finral wearing a Black Bull's uniform and hooking up with a beautiful girl who brought her family along the street and was rejected. Ah, hurry up, hurry up. Both Vanessa and Noelle hope that Finral will never see them at this time, and even if they see them, they will never say hello, because they can't afford to lose this person. Do you have any shopping plans? Vanessa asked as she walked away quickly. Absolutely not. Asta and Noelle said in unison. The main things that are currently needed are available in the Hokage Mall, so Asta has nothing to buy, and Noelle usually seldom goes to the streets of the common people, so there is no purpose. Then let's buy some essential herbs first, and then find a quiet place to stroll around. Vanessa quickly made a plan, and after purchasing the herbs to restore physical strength and the ointment for detoxification needed for the trip, Vanessa mysteriously took Asta and Noelle to an alley. This is a very interesting place, although it is a bit dangerous. You can buy a lot of effective magic items. As a member of the Magic Knights, it is very necessary to know this place. Vanessa proudly pointed to a dilapidated wall, because whenever the newcomer knew that there was something else in the future, he always showed a surprised expression. But there is no way here. Noelle asked suspiciously. It turned out that the entrance was transformed into a wall. The people who developed this market are quite creative. A look of anticipation appeared on Asta's face. His eyes had transitioned from amber to dark red. After turning on Tomo Sharingan, although he could not directly see the mystery behind the wall, he could vaguely see the shadow covered by the wall. Layers of magic array. If nothing else, it should be space transfer magic. You can actually see that. I was surprised when I switched to Vanessa this time. I didn't expect that Asta. who had no magic power, was so sensitive to magic power that he was able to understand the secret of the black market entrance when he first came here. What? The entrance is behind the wall. Noelle was a little surprised, but when she saw Asta and Vanessa go in one after another, she quickly followed, but when she was close to the wall, Noelle was always worried that she would bump her head, but when she touched the wall, a suction force pulled her into the wall. It's amazing, but it's a little dirty. Noelle frowned slightly as he looked at the surroundings. It's true that your royal family doesn't like coming here, but there are a lot of people here who help control the magic power. Vanessa said and took Noelle's hand and walked towards a booth, which sold a lot of magic accessories in the shape of jewelry. It's so dirty. Noelle couldn't help but complain. Let's try the effect first. This has the effect of calming the magic power, and wearing it should reduce the phenomenon of the magic power running away. Vanessa pointed to a golden collarbone chain and preached. Magic runaway. Noelle looked at Asta subconsciously. At this time, Asta had already gone to other places, but her ears were still uncontrollably red, because she remembered what Asta said again. No matter when, as long as there is danger, will he really stand up for me? Come back to my senses, little Ano, staring at Asta so directly, be careful to be seen by him. Vanessa quipped. What? Don't you talk nonsense. Noelle blushed instantly. In the end, as if to hide her embarrassment, she quickly put on the collarbone chain. She felt that the collarbone chain really had the effect of stabilizing the magic, but because the style was too old-fashioned, she was still not interested in buying it. Since we don't like this look, we're looking at something else. Vanessa was patiently picking with Noelle, when suddenly a panicked gray-robed man passed by. Catch him quickly, that's the old woman's trophy. In the distance, an old woman who was walking in a hurry shouted anxiously. It's really in a hurry to choose a road, and it came to me. Asta, who was buying a wand, turned around and grabbed the gray-robed man by the shoulder, and then a neat throw over the shoulder instantly subdued the gray-robed man. .00. Thank you so much, thank you for helping me get my loot back. The old woman came to Asta gratefully. Be careful next time, old lady, even a strong young man will be robbed by holding money in your hand like you are so strutting. Asta exhorted, and then returned the package to the old woman, but the moment he leaned over, the red Sharingan flickered imperceptibly. What a strong magic power. Asta looked at the old man in disbelief. Although it was only for a moment, he clearly felt how powerful the magic power leaked by the old woman in front of him was. Dragon. What's the matter, young man? The old woman asked with concern. Nothing, I just feel that the luck of the old lady was able to capture so many trophies. Asta said with a smile, then turned around without hesitation and came to Noelle and Vanessa's side. Should we go back? I've bought almost all of them, but Noelle hasn't bought any of them. Vanessa's sorry sermon. Don't buy it, I have already chosen a good wand for her, and I heard that it is very helpful to improve the accuracy of magic. Asta took out the purchased wand. This scene made the battle-hardened Vanessa couldn't help opening her mouth, and Noelle was even more overwhelmed, happy and shy. Has it been discovered? Such a keen insight. I wonder if this insight has anything to do with his blood-red eyes. The old woman watched Asta and the others leave with great interest, and then the golden light flashed, and the old man who was already dying turned into a tall young man, but as soon as he showed his original shape, he had a green-haired man very similar to Rock Lee found him through magic. Although Asta, who had gone away, didn't see this scene, he accidentally found Yuno's figure in the air. It's the people of Golden Dawn. Noelle looked up. Isn't this the four-leaf clover genius favored by all the captains in the exam? It seems that you are from the same town as Asta. Vanessa preaches. Well, we grew up in the same church. Asta nodded. Then the relationship must be very good. Do you want me to catch up? Vanessa's thoughtful sermon. If it's a mission, don't disturb them. Asta shook his head. He was very interested in the blonde man who was escorted on the iron carriage. Wasn't this the nobleman who was rejected by Yuno in the examination room? This nobleman did not join any magic group later, but why did he follow up with him? Yuno made a connection. Well, anyway, we have to go out of the city, but we can follow each other for a distance. Vanessa sighed, then rode a magic broom and followed far behind. Isn't this William's new kid? Yami's new kid has already seen it, and it's more interesting than I imagined. I wonder what's going on with this four-leaf clover kid. The young man also discovered Yuno for the first time. What? You have to go out. Listen to me, there are still many things waiting for you to deal with, Magic Emperor. The green-haired man in the aperture said anxiously. That's it, Marks, I'm going to encounter new magic. After the Magic Emperor finished speaking, his figure turned into a golden light spot again and disappeared. Stop for me, Marks roared angrily, but there was still the figure of the Magic Emperor in front of him. In midair, Yuno stood on the magic broom and kept alert to the situation on the left side. This time, the old man in the regiment, Klaus, led him and Mimosa, who was also a newcomer, to escort the son of the House of Lord Senator Harpus. Heart Kingdom, the friendly country, there is no problem with the mission itself, but Harpus's son happens to be Shalom, the candidate who was rejected by him at the beginning, which is a bit strange. How are you doing lately? Yuno, you don't have to put on such a defensive face. Although you rejected the fight at the beginning, I felt like I was humiliated in public, but I don't hold any grudges at all. Instead, I'm glad to be able to compete with you on the same stage. Because your goal is to become the Magic Emperor. Shalom called Yuno to his side and preached. If Asta heard this, he would definitely roll his eyes. I believe you. How would you know? Yuno asked with a scrutiny. His ambitions have never been told to anyone except Asta. Because all the heads have raised their hands, you can easily enter any magic nights that keep their doors closed to others, but you chose the Golden Dawn that is closest to the Magic Emperor on the spot, so isn't your goal obvious? Shalom proudly preached. Then what does it have to do with you? Yuno asked with a cold face. Because I hope you can realize this dream, so that I can proudly say to my children in the future that my father was escorted by the Magic Emperor, so my children will definitely look at me with admiration. It's the last time I meet you. Shalom's words brought tears to his eyes. Yuno couldn't help but be moved, but at this moment Shalom covered his face like a poisonous snake and snickered. By the way, Yuno, the road to Heart Kingdom is still long. Can you tell me about your childhood and what kind of experiences made you so strong? I don't have any special experience. I was abandoned outside the church in Suoi Village since I was a child. Although the church is very poor, I am very grateful to the godfather and nuns for their nurturing grace. Yuno spoke lightly. It turns out that you have been extraordinary since your birthplace. Haji is the legendary place where the first Magic Emperor defeated the demon god. Let's go to your hometown this time. Shalom said in a persuasive manner, but he still remembered that Asta, who was also born in Suoi Village, who insulted him at the time, used his relatives in Suoi Village to force Asta, who was a black bull, to come out. It was also in his plan. Is this wrong? Suoi Village is not on the route of our trip. If we go there, it will take a long detour. Klaus, who had remained silent, preached. It doesn't matter, if there are thieves in ambush along the way, we will never think that we will be far away, so it is safe to take a detour to Suoi Village. The sermon of the old god Shalom. All right. Since this is a request from the employer, it is not easy for Klaus to refuse, but at this 7 o'clock, a dark cloud of lightning and thunder suddenly floated in the sky ahead. This cloud, it's a bit scary. Mimosa, who originally thought of this mission as an outing, was heartbroken. I gonna go see. Yuno was the first to fly out of the team, but what he didn't expect was that 5 thugs flew out of the dark clouds not long after he flew out. Suffer to death. A black-robed man holding a fireball excitedly threw the fireball at Yuno, and the thugs behind him also came out with various magics. There is an ambush, should we go up and help? Vanessa was a little surprised and said, to know how far the capital has not been sent out at this time. Yuno should be able to solve it. Asta spoke calmly, and the situation was exactly as he expected. After the initial panic, Yuno quickly stabilized and repelled the 5. The Golden Dawn must be protecting the son of a certain big man, otherwise it would be impossible to be ambushed as soon as he came out. Vanessa exclaimed. So this is where things get weird. Since the goal of these 5 people is the protected person, why did the 5 thugs not even look at the protected person from their appearance to the retreat? Asta raised this doubt. If you say so, this attack is indeed strange. Noelle thought about preaching. Then why don't you follow along? Vanessa suggested. Anyway, it's a rest day, I don't mind borrowing you for a while, just take it as a thank you for this magic wand. Noelle fiddled with her hair gently, her pink eyes had pride and tenderness, but she used to hide her tenderness under pride. Thank you for your kindness, but if the beast wants to grow, it is destined to experience frost and thorns. I believe that Yuno will definitely resolve this crisis, because he is the fiercest beast in the forest except me. Asta's eyes were burning. He believed that Yuno and the old man led by Golden Dawn would definitely see the tricks of this operation. It makes sense, then let's go back. Vanessa nodded, then flew towards the headquarters with Asta and Noelle. Did you have a good time today? Did you spend any money? Yami sat on the sofa, watching Asta and others who had just returned. We obeyed your instructions and spent every cent on the blade. Asta glanced at the wand held in Noelle's arms with a pun. And what about little Noelle? Yami asked with a smile. Although I didn't buy anything, it was a pleasant shopping trip. Noelle pursed his lips. Captain, we're back too, and this time we brought you snacks. Charmy took credit for a quarter of the snack in his hand. When did the casino have so many masters? Magna walked in with a dejected expression. I'm back too, and my angel loves the clothes I bought. The sister control player Gauche walked into the living room happily, and soon the Black Bull headquarters, which had been dead, became lively again. Whenever this time, Yami was always the most fulfilled, and this enrichment can only be experienced by those who have experienced the cruelty and loneliness of war. Humans can understand. But this kind of good mood also has a premise, that is, you can't destroy public property under his nose. How many times have I told you not to destroy public property? Yami's violent punch smashed half of the wall behind him, which made Magna, who had just made a hole in the wall, feel ashamed. It's a mess in here. Asta, do you want to have dinner together? Noelle was still complaining at first, but suddenly God changed his preaching. Okay. Asta's eyes lit up. This was the first time Noelle had invited him, and now everyone was arguing in the living room, should there be only the two of them in the dining hall. It was more like a date alone. However, when they walked into the cafeteria, they found that this was not the case. Asta opened the door, and saw Charmy eating hard. She's really hardworking. Asta was a little speechless. What did this little cutie go to the cafeteria? Noelle breathed a sigh of relief, because it was the first time she had invited someone to dinner, and she didn't know what to say, but now that there was a Charmy, she wasn't so nervous. Asta, Noelle is hungry too. Come on, there's a lot to eat in the cafeteria. Charmy shouted enthusiastically. Okay, then I'll show you what is the appetite for burning youth. Asta sat down across from Charmy. Oh, do you want to eat for the competition? Hearing this, Charmy stopped as if receiving a challenge. I didn't mean it at first, but youth is about constantly accepting challenges. Would you like to compare it? Asta squinted and smiled. Whenever he showed such a smile, people who knew him would be vigilant, because it meant that he was going to cheat. Compete. My Charmy has never counseled anyone when it comes to eating. Charmy patted his little chest and preached with contempt. So dare I make a bet? If I lose, I'll use half of my salary to buy you delicious food. Asta stared at Charmy under the candlelight. There is a saying that the more beautiful you look under the lamp, the more beautiful you look. Although Charmy is greedy and a little fat, her exquisite facial features and fair skin are still very interesting. What if I lose? Charmy's eyes were shining brightly. Asta's bet was too tempting for him. If Magna were there at this time, he would have been non-stop to persuade Charmy to calm down. I haven't figured it out yet, but it's not too much anyway. Asta preached. Okay, how do we compare? Charmy asked. It's like eating wild pork, see who eats a wild pork first. Asta sourced locally. Then I'll be your referee. Noelle raised his hand. Good, feel the horror of Charmy, Asta. Charmy snapped his fingers, and Grimoire immediately flipped. When he arrived at the chef who created the magic sheep, the 3 magic sheep immediately began to grill the meat, and in a while, the 2 roasted whole pigs were secretly finished. 3, 2, 1, start. Noelle seems to have entered the referee role, and Chong's nose has even been sweating. Eat, eat, eat. Charmy immediately hugged the huge pork leg and started chewing. HMPH, feel the fear of the blue beast. Ninpo gobble no jutsu. Asta borrowed the sheep chef's knife, and then threw the wild boar on the table. At this moment, chakra surged out of the body through the knife. Every time the wild boar fell, Asta would use the knife to renew the wild boar when cutting the wild boar. Stand up. In this way, Asta's right hand is like a cutting machine, constantly cutting and eating meat from the wild boar, which is obviously faster than Charmy's dry gnawing. Ah, you cheat, Charmy said angrily. This is the first time she has seen this way of eating. If it is simply compared to speed, she really can't eat Asta. Haha, eating is also a kind of practice. Asta annihilates the wild boar at a speed visible to the naked eye, and every time he cuts and lifts the wild boar, the power he uses is so wonderful that the boar always maintains a stable landing height. It turns out that eating can be so fancy. Noelle couldn't help but sigh, and in the end it was naturally Asta who won. Okay, you win. Tell me, what do you want Charmy to do? Charmy looked at Asta resignedly. She had only eaten half of her wild boar. Can I see your fat times? Asta suddenly leaned into Charmy's ear and spoke. Soul leg. Charmy immediately rushed out of the cafeteria on his short legs, which made Noelle dumbfounded. What did you say to Charmy? Make her react so much? Noelle was speechless. Oh, I said let her give me a kiss, or persuade you to give me a kiss. Asta squinted and smiled. What, big fool. Noelle ran out after Charmy, feeling ashamedly molested. Ha ha. Seeing Noelle and Charmy's shy reactions, Asta couldn't help laughing, and teasing girls is a very active gentleman's activity. There was nothing to do that night, but on the second day, Yami told everyone heavily that Golden Dawn gained another star, so the gap between them became. The kid who got the four-leaf clover grimoire is really capable. He took down the vicious Senator Harpsichord in his first mission and won a star. Yami sighed with a smoke ring, but he felt that he was not at a loss. At least he won the most outstanding fighting genius in this session, and perhaps it can be said that he is the strongest fighting genius in history. The only regret is that there is no magic power, and I don't know what the future can be. To what extent? Yuno really lived up to my trust. Asta smiled slightly, but really hoped that there would be a competitor who could make him nervous. It seems that yesterday we were fortunate to have listened to your advice, otherwise rushing forward would have really hindered his growth. Vanessa said thoughtfully. Many times she was not shocked by Asta's rare taijutsu, but Asta's belief. It was a belief that was more mature than them, and she was really curious about Asta's growth at this time. Experience, who in the end trained this evildoer? You don't have to look frustrated. What's the difference between 31 and 30? Noelle looked at Yami and Magna with heavy expressions. The two looked happy when they said that they lost 30 stars, like a dead pig not afraid of boiling water, but now they are only thrown away by Golden Dawn. The gap between 1 star and 1 star is actually uncomfortable. This view of honor and disgrace that is not the same as that of normal people is really unbelievable. At the same time, in a valley at the border of the Four-Leaf Clover Kingdom and the Diamond Kingdom, the earth suddenly began to rise and fall, and then the earth shook and a deserted, but large-scale castle building skirt sprouted from the ground like a spring seedling, came out. This strange scene was immediately reported to the top by the intelligence officers of the two countries. Magic Emperor, it's not good, an abnormal event happened at the border. Marks immediately passed the news to the Magic Emperor. Abnormal event. Magic Emperor thought for a while, then smiled and said, let those two interesting children go. What kind of sparks can they collide? You even let 2 children go. Marks recovered quickly after a brief period of consternation, because he believed the Magic Emperor's judgment. Is there a magic palace at the border? And Asta is also designated to go. It's really interesting. Yami quickly received the news and gathered all the members of Black Bull. Has something happened, Captain? Magna asked that the Yami usually called them urgently only when there was a major event. Oh, a new magic palace was discovered at the border, and the Magic Emperor handed it over to us. Yami spoke calmly. What turned out to be a magic palace? That's a super treasure exploration place. Magna clenched his fists excitedly. Isn't this going to make a fortune? Asta's eyes lit up. Since he died in the land of super treasure exploration, then there must be a lot of people who break into the magic palace at that time. Wouldn't it be a child with a knife? But although there are super expensive magic tools, there are also powerful magic traps set up inside, and ordinary people can't get in at all. Luck preached. What are you thinking about? Seriously, in the Magic Palace, you can find magic tools or super magic that can directly improve the level of civilization, so in order to defend the interests of the kingdom, you must not let the people from the Diamond Kingdom take the lead, so you must immediately set off. Yami preached. I can't wait for my Hongalinger majestic drive, Commander Yami. Magna is quite excited now, because just finding 1 or 2 treasures from the Magic Palace is enough for him to turn around. The Magic Emperor has a special assignment for this mission, so you should take a rest, Magna. Yami exhaled a smoke ring, designated by the Magic Emperor himself. Everyone was stunned. The Magic Emperor represented the strongest combat power in this country, that is, the strongest man in the Four-Leaf Clover Kingdom, but such a big man would actually look down on the Black Bull's members, as unexpected. Asta, although I don't know how the Magic Emperor knew about you, but this time the Magic Emperor personally ordered you to go, so you were the first choice, and then Xiao Nuai is a newcomer like you, this time also just in time to see it, so there's still 1 person left to lead the team, so let luck lead you guys. Yami quickly assigned the task staff. Then can we rest, Captain? Finral asked. I miss my sister so much too, can I see my angel? Sister Control Player Ghosh said impatiently. If you've already made up your mind to die. Yami's face darkened, he even dared to blatantly slack off, and these 2 even put him in the eye of the regiment leader. Forehead. Finral and Ghosh were sweating on their foreheads at the same time, and the head of the team with his face darkened was terrible. By the way, this time, besides you, Magic Emperor has also assigned Golden Dawn's newcomers. When you prevent you from being preempted by the Diamond Kingdom, you should also be careful not to be stole the limelight by Golden Dawn's newcomers. Yami reminded. I didn't expect to meet Yuno so soon. Asta was a little surprised. You kid, when did you become involved with the Magic Emperor? Magna leaned over and said with a displeased expression. Is it him? Asta's mind flashed the figure of the old woman he saw on the black market. If the Magic Emperor did not have the ability to predict the future, then the most suspicious person who had confronted him was the old lady. The surging magic power made him even more secretive. What do you think, Asta? Finral has already opened up space magic. Noelle gave Asta a little push. If you don't go in, I'm going to surpass myself here. Finral spoke bitterly. You've been to quite a few places, Finral. Asta walked through space magic with Noelle, and came to a hillside with birds and flowers in an instant. Where? It's just that I've been to almost all the more beautiful places in the kingdom. It is worth mentioning that the sunset here is beautiful, and it's a dating spot. Finral turned off the space magic after making a look that any man could understand. Noelle rolled his eyes at the communication between pure men like Finral and Asta, and then calmed down to take a look at the environment here, which was really beautiful. Go this way. Although Luck looks very unreliable, he is actually not as unreliable as everyone thinks. His lightning magic has a strong detection ability, and as long as it is not involved in the battle, his mind will be very calm. But if you are in a hurry, your IQ will immediately become negative. Should we be the first to come here? Noelle stepped on the soft soil and felt much better. Finral is not the only one who knows space magic, so other magic knights may also be here, even before us. Luck preached. Is there a magic palace there? Asta jumped over a lying tree trunk, and a pile of huge architectural skirts was displayed in front of him. Quote. There was a surprised expression in Noelle's pink eyes. This was the first time she saw the ancient ruins. Let's go in, betch. Luck was excited, not to mention the high probability of encountering a wizard from a hostile country. The super powerful trap magic in it was enough to make his adrenaline soar, and the 3 quickly broke into the corridor of the magic palace. On a dark and icy road, Noelle involuntarily leaned against Asta. It's so dark. Noelle felt that it was always cold behind him, as if there was something, so he looked back from time to time, but the corridor behind him was obviously darker without lights. Remember what I said, come to my arms anytime if you're afraid. Asta teased. Who is afraid? I'm just a little nervous. Who made this broken corridor so long? Noelle preached hard. It should be here, right? Luck kept squinting and walking in front of him, looking for something, and when he saw a fluorescent stone, he immediately became overjoyed. What is this? Noelle asked. It's the switch that illuminates the magic palace. After Luck finished speaking, he pressed the stone, and the entire magic palace immediately lit up. When everyone got used to the light in front of them, a magnificent ancient ruins appeared in front of everyone. A maze-like architectural skirt is formed in midair with disordered and orderly passages. Does magic distort space? The wisdom of ancient humans is beyond imagination. Luck couldn't help sighing. The magic power floating here is so strong. Noelle looked around, and she wasn't so frightened after the bright light. Noelle, watch out, the slate on the left. Asta preached while looking at the enchanted slate carved beside Noelle. Are there any bugs? Noelle resisted the urge to jump on Asta, turned his head slightly and found nothing, but after a closer look, he could see the magic circle engraved on the stone slab, as this trap magic. Should be right. Asta nodded. The red Sharingan could clearly see the lines of each magic circle, but at this moment, the nervous Luck suddenly stepped on the magic slate on Noelle's left. Boom! The trap magic on the magic slate was triggered immediately. A huge rock protruded quickly. Asta suddenly exerted force on his left foot, and the sword of the demon shattering was pulled out with a sound, and the trap magic was smashed before the rock hit Noelle. Awesome! Luck clapped happily, not feeling the danger of his actions just now. What are you doing? Is the head of the regiment serious about asking you to protect us? Noelle complained in shock, but before she finished speaking, she saw that Luck had triggered another fire-type trap magic, and she played with a big heart. Forget it, let's go first. Asta silently took Noelle's hand and walked forward. Is this really a problem? How happy is the child? Hey, without my magic to guide you, you'll get lost. Luck saw that he was almost done and jumped to Asta to preach. Then you should quickly point the way. Asta felt that his scalp was a little numb, and he felt that this action might as well call Magna. Although his strength was a little lower, it was still reliable. Okay, let's get down to business. Luck said and closed his eyes. At the same time, his magic power spread rapidly around him. The original purpose was to sense the deepest part of the magic palace, but he accidentally discovered a third-party force. Sure enough, besides us, there are other people here too. Luck suddenly opened his eyes, his green eyes filled with excitement. Lei Chuang becomes the boots of the magic Thor. What are you going to do? Noelle looked at Luck, who suddenly jumped up in surprise. He didn't look like he was going to lead the way. Sorry, I'm in a hurry all of a sudden, so I have to ask you two to attack the magic palace first. Luck said that he was very apologetic, but he ran towards the third-party forces without any apology on his face. Just abandoned us. Noelle said in disbelief. It's good to get used to it. Some people just walk, and they will really disappear. Asta's hand rode. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.